Hello, everyone. I am here today to talk to you a little bit more about percent word problems. Now, we have done a lot of work with percentages recently, and we're going to add to it a little bit here today. I know we've been talking about sales tax and tips and discounts, and we're going to continue to do so, but we're going to add a little more to it. I think you'll find it's very similar in what we've been doing, but just a slight change. Okay, so let's look at a problem and let's try and tear it apart here. Okay, so this one says, in April, the YMCA held a basketball camp and 90 students attended. In December, it held another camp and the attendance was up 30%. So how many students attended in December? Okay, so let's dig a little deeper at this. And we know that there was 90 students from the first camp, but attendance was up 30%, right? So that's going to tell us that it is higher than the 90 that was originally there, right? It's higher, it is more. Okay, so we want to know how many students attended in December. So we're going to take our total of 90, just like we have done in the past, and we are going to multiply by 30%. Okay? And that's no different than what we did when we were figuring out taxes and tips. We always took our total and we multiplied by our percentage. So if I take 90 times 30%, you will see that that is 27. Now that's not your final answer. That means that there was 27 more students attended. So we're going to take our 90 students, and as we said, the calculator showed we're going to get 27 more. So we're going to add 27 to our 90. So that would figure out that there's now 117 students at the camp. Okay, all we did was took our total times 30%, which gave us 27. And because attendance is going up, it's going to be higher, we added those two together. So we're going to have to look for some key words that'll tell us whether we're adding or subtracting. Okay, let's look at another one. A law firm used to charge its clients $240 an hour. Recently, the company adjusted its hourly rate, making it 15% less. So what is their new billing rate? Okay, so let's take a deep dive into this. It used to charge $240, but they've adjusted it, making it less. Less is your key word here. So it's no longer $240. It's going to be less. So that will help us know whether we're adding or subtracting. Okay, but before we get to that, let's use our calculator. Okay, so we're going to multiply our price, which is $240, times 15%. And we'll see that it is going to be $36 less. Now, that's not our final answer again. That's how much less it is. So we need to take $240, and we need to subtract the 36 we just calculated. Right? We are subtracting because it is going to be less. Adding would make it more, so we're subtracting. And when you subtract, you'll see that their new price, they are going to charge people $204 instead of $240. Okay, so it is cheaper. It's now $204. The word less told us we're going to add. But again, all we did was take the price times your percentage. Okay, let's see another example. All right, this one says, the cable bill is usually $75 a month, but you forgot to pay it on time. So the company is going to charge you an 8% late fee. How much is our bill now? Okay, so this is what our bill usually is. But we're sort of in trouble here because we didn't pay it on time. So they're going to charge us some extra. It's a late fee. Right? It's going to make our bill higher or more expensive. So this should help you know whether you're adding or subtracting. Okay, again, but before we do that, we've got to figure this out. So let's bring up our calculator. All right, so the price was $75, it said. So I'm going to take 75, and it is an 8% fee, so times 8%. So they are going to charge us an extra $6. Okay, so our bill, which was 75, because we're paying it late, we have to pay a fee, which makes it more expensive. So you should hopefully realize that you should be adding here. And instead of $75, our bill is now $81. Okay, the fee here makes us know that we are going to add. All right, moving on. Okay, so this one says Sasha had $6,000 in her bank account. She took out 20% to get her car fixed. So how much does she have left? Okay, so this is how much she had, $6,000. She had to take some out, so she no longer has $6,000, right? She is going to have less than that. And how much does she have left? Usually that's a good indicator that you're going to be subtracting. But we got to figure out how much to subtract. Okay, so let's calculate this using our calculator. Okay, so we're going to take our $6,000 times 20%. And hopefully we see that she needed $1,200 to get her car fixed. All right, so she had $6,000. And she took out $1,200 to get the car fixed. All right. So she no longer has this much. We want to know how much she has left. So hopefully you realize that you should be subtracting here. Okay, and again, you plug this right into your calculator, and you will see that she has $4,800 left. Okay, this one you needed to subtract. Once you figured out the 1,200, you had to subtract. Okay, this question said, Jakima's job paid her $45,000 for the year. If she received a 12% raise, how much is she making now? Okay, so she is getting a raise. This is her old salary. A raise means you're going to make more money, right? So there's your key word that tells us that eventually we're going to add. But before we do that, we've got to figure out how much we're going to add. So we're going to take 45,000 times our 12%. And we get $5,400. So we're going to take $45,000 and add it to the 5,400 we just calculated, because she is making this much more money. So our total here, is going to be $50,400. That's how much she is making. Remember, she received a raise, more money, so that told us we were going to add. Okay, in each of these problems, again, we're taking and multiplying the total times our percent, and then figuring out if we're adding or subtracting. All right, this one says, Daniel worked as a car salesman. He makes commission of 12% on every car he sells. So if he sells a car that is worth $24,000, what's his commission? Now, commission may be a word that some of you are or are not familiar with, but usually people who work in some sort of sales, whether it's selling houses or if it's selling cars or whatever it may be, they work on commission, meaning they receive, for everything they sell, they receive a certain percentage back. That's sort of how they make their money. Okay, so Daniel's job gives him 12% back on every car he sells. So let's figure out what that is. Okay, so we're going to take our $24,000 that which was what the car was worth, and we're going to multiply it by 12%. So when Daniel sells a car, he makes $2,880. Okay, now this one's a little different. We don't need to add this to this because we're not making the car and this. This is how much Daniel is making. So when Daniel sells a $24,000 car, he receives this much in commission. So if a job would have a higher commission, instead of 12, maybe it's 20, he would make more money. If a job would have a less of a commission, maybe it's 5 or 6, he would make less money. So it just depends on what your job sets it at. Some jobs don't, most jobs I would say don't have any commission, but certain ones do, like some sort of people that sell things. Okay, let's look at one more question here. Okay, last week, Kara rode her bike a total of 45 miles. This week, she rode it 10% less. So how many miles did she ride this week? Okay, so we know last week she did 45 miles. But now we're being told that this week she has done less. So we know it has to be less than 45. So that should tell us that we are going to subtract. Can't be more, right? It's less. Okay, so let's use our calculator, and we're going to do 45 times 10%. 4.5. So she is going to do 4.5 miles less. Okay, so we're going to do a little subtracting here. You plug into your calculator 45 minus 4.5, you would get an answer of 40.5. She rode 40.5 miles this week. Remember, we are subtracting because she rode less. Is your key word there. Okay? So, if we remember, guys, we're always multiplying by our percent, and then, according to keywords in the phrase, figure out whether you are adding or you are subtracting. Keywords that would tell you to add, maybe more, would be increase, would be higher, like raise, right? Those things. Less, maybe decrease. How much less? Below, right? Those would all be key words. Dropped would all be keywords about having to subtract or things going down. Okay? So there's a little bit of practice for you to do. You may use your calculators. Okay? And good luck. Have a good day, guys.